Which end of the clause go?
With a low intro APR, $150 bonus cash, and 1.5% cash back on all purchases, the Cash Rewards credit card helps you put more happy in your holidays. Apply now at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer. IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Ahoy, mateys! To keep those cars clean, you need the Pirates Cove Fast Pass.
The new Pirates Cove Car Wash and Haviland Express Lube on Glen Burnie Road in New Bern is now open. Pirates Cove in New Bern is offering Fast Passes for $9.99 for new Fast Pass customers. You can visit us in Greenville on Fire Tower Road, Memorial Drive, and on East 10th Street. And have you heard? Pirates Cove on Fire Tower Road is now offering interior cleaning.
So we have you surrounded. Pirates Cove, the official car wash partner of ECU Athletics.
Love Jersey Mike's subs? Love them times 12 with our new catering box. Packed full of a dozen individually wrapped subs. They're yours for the sharing. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above. You don't need a big meeting. You don't need a birthday. You don't need any excuse at all. You just need to love subs. Times 12. Order the Jersey Mike's catering box today. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
University Book Exchange, UBE or ECU. University Book Exchange.
UBE and PirateWear.com offers a large selection of ECU apparel. There's a new selection of hats, t-shirts, and tailgate supplies. Plus, the online store at PirateWear.com has been redesigned to serve you better. UBE and PirateWear.com, located in the heart of Uptown Greenville and proud supporters of the Pirates for over 35 years.
While other folks come and go, Greenville Pool & Supply has been your local pool store in Greenville and Eastern North Carolina for over 40 years. Are you finding yourself spending more time at home than ever before? If so, turn your backyard into a vacation destination. Greenville Pool has pools for any size backyard. Choose from the very popular fiberglass, classic vinyl, or custom concrete. If you order your pool now, it could be in by this spring. If you're ready for a pool, contact the pros at Greenville Pool & Supply.
Hey, this is Jay from Villa Verde. Did you know that Villa Verde opened up its second location? Yes, it's Villa Verde Dos on Arlington Boulevard across the hospital. This new location is a fast, casual environment where you can make your own bowls for only $9.95. Choose from our fresh ingredients from our toppings bars or enjoy an amazing rotisserie chicken. We promise you can be in and out in less than 15 minutes. For a quick, healthy meal at an affordable price, visit us at Villa Verde Dos on Arlington Boulevard. Villa Verde, a platform for good.
It's the season for warmer clothes, hot apple cider, and changing leaves. But what doesn't change and what won't change is our commitment to your complete satisfaction each and every time you visit our dealership. Phelps Chevrolet in Greenville. Complete customer satisfaction isn't just a seasonal thing, it's delivered every day. That's why we are the place to find your next truck or SUV. Come in and get you one. Phelps Chevrolet. Visit today or see us on the web.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the pirate nation. This is Eastern North Carolina's longest-running sports radio call-in show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show on Pirate Radio is brought to you by
Bostic Sugg Furniture, Bojangles, East Coast Grading, Angus Grill, Gavigan Insurance, BMS Builders, The Rick House, Greenville Auto World, Papa John's, Pepsi, Taft and Hagler, and by Tiebreakers.
And now, here's Brian Bailey.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into our show after an East Carolina Pirate football win. Pirates knock off Temple 28-3 up in Philadelphia on Saturday. And joining us for our hour today is Blake Harrell. He is the defensive coordinator at East Carolina, and his defense gave up only 3 points in the win over the Owls. And the Pirates now get set to take on SMU. And if you're the defensive coordinator and you look at last year's tape of that game, you know that the Ponies put up 59 on East Carolina last year in that 59-51 game in Dallas, Texas. So Coach Harrell's got plenty of work to do for this week, but for today, we'll take a look back to last week and the big win over the Temple Owls. Coach, you ready to go?
Oh, yes, sir. Appreciate you having me on, Brian.
All right. When you look at what you guys had to face last week, let's talk about the COVID situation first, because, first of all, we were fascinated when the game broadcast came on and both sidelines were clear, and the first thing I thought, my stomach dropped, and I thought, oh, man, they've canceled this game. And we knew it's always a possibility because of the COVID, but then, later on they put a graphic up that said estimated start time 1 o'clock, and they changed that to 12:50, so we knew we were going to get to play. As a coach, how hard was that this weekend?
Well, like you said, in 2020, you expect the unexpected, so you never know what's going to happen. But for me, I was actually already up in the box, ready to go, and just kind of wondering, like, why aren't we coming out here? We should be getting out here, So, and then I think probably got the message about the same time you did, is through ESPN and Twitter updates of what exactly was going on, and it does kind of make you step back and think, oh no, well, we got up here ready to play a game, and we're not going to get an opportunity to play a football game and see how this thing goes. And it just kind of would fit with everything else in 2020. But it worked out, and doctors did a great job of just moving things along there and getting the proper protocols in place and taking the proper safety measures, and got a chance to play the ball game, which our kids deserved and was good for our program and good for our players.
It had to be an eerie feeling when you're up in that booth and you look down and you don't see anything.
Yeah, you look down and you see no movement and see nobody coming out, and you see somebody come out, then the officials start going back in, and you're like, oh no, they've canceled it. It's a wasted trip up here. So yeah, it definitely was not a good feeling there.
When you looked at the game, the assignment you guys had, you were supposed to be playing a fourth quarterback, and then he got suspended, so now they're on quarterback number 5. So you basically knew that they were behind the 8 ball. And Pirate fans can all relate because in the Navy game, Mason Garcia, as a true freshman, had to start, and the Pirate offense really never got on track that day. So you kind of knew that you had a little bit of an advantage there, but still, you've got to stop the run. They were very good on the offensive line and very good, running the ball at times when they get it cranked up. But you guys did a great job in that game, didn't you?
Yeah, regardless of who quarterback is, you always make plans to just face their offense, face multiple quarterbacks, whoever it may be. The good thing that their quarterback had going for him is his supporting cast. I mean, he had guys around him that were fifth-year seniors, grad students up front, and the O-line was really, really good. Tight ends were solid. Receivers were solid. At tailback, who was a fifth-year senior, 220 pounds, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to put a football game in the quarterback's hand alone. They want to run the football, put them in the manageable third downs, and because it didn't really matter who the quarterback was. Their game plan doesn't change. So that was kind of nice for us defensively, knowing that, hey, regardless of who walks out there to take the snap, that the game plan's not going to change. They want to run the football first and throw some play action and RPO off of it, and that's what we had to stop. So our kids did a great job of just locking in, focusing on the details and the assignment at hand, and making sure we stop the run first and foremost.
And really, when you've got a team like East Carolina going into that game, and I look back to the Tulsa game when you guys played so well in that game, should have won the game. We've talked about it, every week we talk about it, but still, it kind of reflects 2020 in a way. But they weren't rewarded for all of that, and they've struggled recently. But to go up there and really dominate the game, and I don't care who you play, you go in there and dominate the game. That had to mean a lot to the program.
Yeah, we didn't just go up there, defensively. I thought both sides of the ball did a great job of. Not just going up there and sliding by and playing sloppy and getting a win, but playing really well. And on both sides of the ball, special teams included, and you had some guys really stand out. So it's nice to, like you said, be rewarded by playing well and getting a W at the same time. It's been a while since that happened, and we were able to put it all together last Saturday.
takeaways are such a key in college football, and this defense has been able to do that, and they did it again against Temple, didn't they?
Yeah, we were able to come up with 3 turnovers there. Wish we'd had a couple more there. If we wouldn't have had a little false start there, I think we got, Malik Fleming picks one and takes it to the house.
Yeah.
But they had a little false start. But, yeah, that's always the key each and every week is able to win the turnover battle, and we were able to do that this past Saturday.
When you looked at this game going up there, does it make you a little more nervous when you know that they're behind the 8 ball at quarterback, that the expectations are there? Or is it just like you said, you just got to go out there and play the best defense you can play?
Well, you got to go out there and play the best of your ability always, and certainly any time that somebody may have a weapon taken away from them, whether it be a quarterback, running back, whoever it may be, you always think they try to maybe adjust their game plan and maybe go to a wildcat situation or a few extra trick plays or just change something up that they usually do. So as a defense coordinator or defense, that kind of throws you off a little bit, but at the same time, you got to be able to adjust as a defense, adjust as a DC, and throughout the game, our kids did a great job of handling that, and just, I'm really just proud of the effort they put forth.
Pirates with a big win, 28-3 over the Temple Owls. Next up is SMU. We're talking with Blake Harrell. He's the defensive coordinator at East Carolina. We'll take our first commercial break right now and come back with more on our show, talking Pirate football on this Monday, kicking off your football week, your Thanksgiving week after this.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. Designed to power even the most passionate of armchair quarterbacks, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong, keep you in the zone, and recover from those triumphant wins.
Before I was just your average football fan, but thanks to Pepsi, I'm a football-watching MVP. Nothing can stop me from cheering my team on to victory or overreacting when the ref makes a bad call. What do you mean he wasn't in? That looks like 2 feet to me.
With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi is the premier football-watching beverage.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet or wiped buffalo sauce on my new couch. But thanks to Pepsi, I'm so in the zone, even Mike can't ruin my football party. See? Don't even care.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft and Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
If you thought you saw the last of double cheeseburger pizza, think again, because it's back at Papa John's again. Get a large double cheeseburger pizza for just $12. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hey Pirate fans, order the new double cheeseburger pizza for only $12. The new cheeseburger pizza is an MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, the official pizza of the ECU Pirates.
Enjoy the warm air circulating moments after you turn up the heat. Precise control of cooking temperatures. Enough hot water on demand for everyone's shower. The instant glow of warmth when you turn on your fireplace or fire pit. Never having to change a gas tank on your outdoor grill. Experience the affordable luxury of natural gas. Find out more at GUC.com.
Chico's Mexican Restaurant in downtown Greenville invites you to party on the patio. Chico's outside patio is the perfect place to get all your amigos together for some Mexican food and fun. Call Chico's now to make a reservation for any large or small fiesta with all of your amigos. For Mexican food and fun, it's got to be Chico's Mexican Restaurant in downtown Greenville and online at chicosrestaurant.com. Chico's, where the fiesta never ends.
This is assistant football coach Drew Dudzik, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back to our show on this Monday, a victorious Monday for East Carolina after the Pirates get that win 28-3 at Temple. And next up, the Ponies, the Mustangs of SMU, and they come to town coming up for a noon kickoff at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium on Saturday. It's Thanksgiving week. Thursday, of course, the big holiday, all of the football, all of the turkey, and then, of course, Black Friday, and the games on Saturday. So a big weekend coming up. East Carolina and SMU noon kickoff, and our coverage on Pirate Radio begins at 8 a.m. with the Bud Light pregame tailgate with Clip Rock and company. Blake Harrell, the defensive coordinator at East Carolina, is our guest on this Monday. And Coach, when you look at a week like this, when you have Thanksgiving, and I know football teams are basic, they're basically families. You guys are just with the players and the coaches' relationships and the players being away from their own families. I mean, Thanksgiving takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? It does, and it can be a special week, and you're just blessed to have a football family and guys away, being around the guys, and an opportunity to show thanks for them and each other, and thankful for the program and the university and Pirate Nation. So it's always a good week and always just a good chance to take a moment out and give thanks. That's Blake Harrell, the defensive coordinator at East Carolina. We are taking your questions and comments on our Facebook Live feed. So if you have a question or a comment for Coach Harrell, just jot them down, and I will get them to the coach on this Monday. Just talk about some of the defensive efforts that you guys had against Temple, some of the individual efforts, and it was led by Bruce Bivens. He's really playing his best football, isn't he? He is. He's played really well the last 2 weeks. At Cincinnati, he played limited. About after 10 plays, he got ejected for targeting. Right. But before that, he was playing really well. But this past week, was really big in stopping the run up front. Just did a good job triggering. Had a bunch of tackles up front, tackles for losses, and then got the pick at the end of the game to cap it off. I think that was his first of the career, and maybe his biggest play of the game was the hit right before the halftime on their tailback. Their tailback about 225 pounds. A little dive play at the middle, and Bruce strokes him pretty good, and I think that was the last play of the game for their tailback. So that was probably a pretty big part of stopping the run as well, just that one play. So he's kind of a hammer, and been around for a while, played a lot of football, and really just kind of coming into his best football right now as we get through this thing. And he's I call him the field general. He sets our calls and does a good job with that. And his voice really carries, and he has a presence out there and kind of a juice guy as well. So really proud of Bruce and what he's been able to do, and just really looking forward to what he can do this week. We took Bruce up to the Newport, Rhode Island deal. I don't think it was I know it wasn't before this year because they canceled it, but I think it was the year before. And he's hilarious. The things that he came up with, and he would not eat the lobster because he said the lobster had eyes. So he's over there eating chicken, and I told him, I said, Bruce, you know that chickens, they have eyes too, right? He said, but you can't see them. I mean, he was so funny though. He was adamant that he's not going to eat that lot. And now every time he sees me, he looks at me and he goes, they had eyes, and he smiles. But he has a good time, doesn't he? He does, and he's always got that smile to him, a little personality to him, and he's a lot of fun to have on their defense on our football program. Another good guy for your linebacking core is Xavier Smith, and he had a big day, 9 tackles, 5 solo, 4 assisted. Those linebackers really played well, didn't they? Yeah, those two did a nice job of just, anytime that your opponent runs the ball 45, 50 times, you expect your linebackers to step up big, and both of them did. Xavier did a nice job in there and took some things away. They really wanted to. In the previous games, they hit the tight end on several throws or a throwback or tight end delay, and Xavier did a nice job checking those things out, taking that away, and was really active in the run game as well. So, really proud of both those guys and the job they did Saturday. And, they did what you expect linebackers do when a team runs the ball 50 times. Questions and comments on our Facebook Live feed, and we've got one for you talking about the younger linebackers. Who are some of those in the fold we haven't seen yet, or we've seen a little bit of that you expect big things from down the line? Taylor Jackson is a guy that we have played at linebacker, played on third down. He's a freshman, true freshman. And with some injuries and whatnot, we moved him out to sandbacker, and he actually played in the game Saturday, made a few plays. I think he had about 10, 15 snaps there and did some nice things. He was more of a safety in high school, outside backer, and we played him inside all season, and this past week he moved out to Sam, played outside, and did a really nice
job adjusting, and we'll be there again this week. So he's one. Miles Berry is obviously another linebacker, not necessarily a young guy, but he's done some nice things. More of a nickel-type guy for us, plays a lot of third down, and is always there. Then I think some younger guys we got coming along. Eric Doctor is a true freshman. Alex Angus, we moved in an inside backer. He's a redshirt freshman, and expect both big things out of both those guys in the future.
And you had a guy get on scholarship after the game. That was a neat deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we can quit talking about he's number 60 or he's number 90 or Elijah Morris, the walk-on, this or that. So, I mean, he was one of those guys that I think he's recovered about his third fumble of the year, did a nice job with that. And, I think he probably the one got his hand on the ball to start with, and Xavier went ahead and knocked it out, and Elijah recovered it there. And, to be honest with you, I was coming down from the box and didn't really get in there for the post-game celebration down there in time. You got to go down the elevator and all that stuff there and through security. But the time I got in the locker room, everything was kind of breaking up. And then I saw on Twitter, something about Elijah being tweeted. I said, what exactly did Elijah do? I know he had a turnover. And somebody said, he got a scholarship. So, well, that's great news. So I'm just really, really happy for him. Anytime a young man can come here and prove himself, fight his tail off, earn the respect of his teammates and his coaches, and end up on a scholarship, that's pretty special. And he's been pretty special for our program this fall.
That's one of the real joys of college football as a whole and East Carolina Pirate football, because we cover it, so closely. But there have been so many stories about guys who were overlooked, who weren't recruited, who just wanted a shot. And you guys were able to give these guys a shot, and nothing's guaranteed to them. And for some of them, and I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I think some of them come in and during summer camp, they can't eat with the team or do anything like that, but they still get out there and they bust their butt and they earn a scholarship from time to time, and that's just a big story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great story through especially Elijah there, just a local kid from Fayetteville, East North Carolina, just coming up, working his tail off, and really, we joke around. We say he was, he wore number 60 to start with, and we all called him 60, and he kept making play after play after play. So eventually, we learned his name, and pretty quickly he made sure of that, and just. What a great story he's been.
And, it seems like in football and in defensive football, there are just certain guys who have a knack for either creating a turnover or getting a turnover. I think the greatest in Pirate history was probably Morris Foreman, the late Morris Foreman, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But he played linebacker, and he was so active, and he would intercept a pass, or he would pick up a fumble, he would cause a fumble. I mean, there were just guys like that seemed to be, in the right spot, just happen to be right where you're supposed to be to make a play. And some of that may be luck, but a lot of that is just, skill, determination, wanting to be there, fighting your way through. And those 3 fumble recoveries have all been big this year.
Oh, no question. And, it's instincts. We look for that in recruiting. Watching a young man's high school film, just is he creating turnovers? Is he causing turnovers? And Elijah's been a big part of, some big ball games. This one, I think he had one at Navy, and he's had another one throughout too. And another guy that does that is Jair Wilson. We call him the vulture, but he's always seeming like he's around the football.
Yeah.
Punching it out, recovering it, picking the ball off, whatever it may be, or picking up on a sack too. So, that's just kind of a knack for that, and just kind of instincts. And those guys have done a really nice job with that this year.
If Pirate fans can get a hold of the depth chart, this is the depth chart for Temple, and there'll be another one that comes out tomorrow. But it's fascinating when you look at the depth chart to see just how young this football team is. I mean, you start at defensive end, and the young kids start. Emmanuel Hickman, freshman redshirt, Kareem Stinson or Jason Romero, freshman high school. You go to defensive tackle, sophomore, freshman high school. I mean, a lot of these kids this time last year were gearing up for the playoffs and getting ready to, if they were practicing on Thanksgiving, as I always say, then you've had a good year in high school football, so some of them were in the playoffs. But this team, this defensive line is really, really young.
Oh, no doubt. I think we have, I counted up today, 14 first-time starters on the defensive side of the ball at some point this year, whether it's been D-line, secondary, corner, whatever it may be. And those are 14 freshmen or true freshmen that have ended up starting or playing for us at some point. So that's a huge number. I think we're like the third youngest team of playing young players in the country. So I know those stats are up there, and it's really, bright for Pirate Nation and the future of Pirate football. Just you look at every team we play in our conference, whether it's Cincinnati, they have 4th and 5th year kids. I mean,
yeah.
The old line we went against Temple, they were 4th and 5th year players. And when you've been playing for 4 and 5 years, you've had a lot of experience, you've had a lot of snaps under your belt, and a lot of things that you've been through. You've been to battle, you battle tested, and you're ready to go play. And that's what Unfortunately, that's what we're going through right now. It's some growing pains, but the good thing is they'll be a year older and experienced next year. So one of the good things that you mentioned this the other day that 2020's been is we hadn't had to worry about, this guy can only play in 4 games.
Right.
Or which 4 games is he going to play in, or are we going to burn his red shirt? No, you're playing guys and getting them as much snaps and as much quality time as possible. So that's been really good for the young guys.
As bad as 2020 has been, the silver lining is that if you have a young kid, you could have a young kid this year who could have played in, say he plays in 8 games. Next year comes around and say you decide to continue to develop him, so he goes 4 games, and then his third year, he's a freshman. I mean, that's crazy.
No question.
I mean,
you can be in college for a long time.
Well, I was in college for a long time, but it didn't.
Me too.
Exactly. Exactly. And we're talking with Blake Carroll. He's the defensive coordinator at East Carolina. Let's change gears a little bit before we go to break and take another break. Now, give us the exact story of the convenience store that your parents owned, or because I've heard it 3 different ways, 3 different times, and I said if I get Coach Harrell on, I'm going to find out exactly what it was, because I think it was the game before this, the ESPN broadcast, but they were talking about it, and I thought that's not the way I remembered it. So what is the exact story with that?
And who knows what comes across the ESPN broadcast sometimes. When we first got asked about that, it seems like it was back in September, and my memories of growing up in the gas station aren't probably as fond of a story as they are now. I remember having to go to the store and fill a drink cooler up or pump somebody's gas, even 8, 9 years old. That was kind of my job. Every time we stopped by the store, my parents would get stuck there for a couple hours just doing extra work, and I had to work and sweep the parking lot and do whatever as well. So I didn't really appreciate it as much as I do now. But we had a small little gas station there. I think there were probably only about maybe 4 pumps there, so a really small gas station, convenience store. And you'd have one person in there working at a time, and we only had about 3 or 4, maybe 5 employees in the summer. And Coach Houston was he lived in that area of town, on that side of town that we had the gas station in. We both grew up on the same side of town, and his summer job, I guess when he was in high school, was to work at my mom's store there. So that's where I first got to know Coach Houston, and obviously my bus route would also go past Coach Houston's house, and Coach Houston's mom was a babysitter, so a bunch of the kids on the bus would get off at his house as well. So we definitely go back a ways.
We won't tell Coach Houston, but what kind of worker was he?
As far as I know, he was solid.
I think he'd have to be, but you can't say anything but that, can you?
No doubt.
All right. Blake Carroll, defensive coordinator at East Carolina, on this victorious Monday for East Carolina. We will take a commercial break. We're back with more of your Facebook Live questions or comments. We'll get those to Coach as well. Next up is SMU for East Carolina, and we're back with more after this.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles, and this is a Pirate Radio Sports Break, presented by Ron Ayers Motorsports, north of the airport on Highway 11 in Greenville. The Toys for Tots motorcycle ride originates from Ron Ayers at 11 a.m. on Saturday, December the 5th. ECU's basketball trip to Fort Myers, Florida to open the season this week has been canceled due to COVID concerns. Joe Dooley's Pirates are scheduled to now open the season at home on December the 5th against Radford. It's the final football game of the year for the Pirates Saturday at 12 noon, as SMU will be at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, Bagwell Field for a 12 noon kickoff. Mike Houston's Pirates are coming off a 28-3 win over Temple. ECU is 2-6. SMU is 7-2. The all-time series is tied at 4 wins each. SMU has won the last 2 games. And the Carolina Panthers posted a 20-0 shutout win over the Detroit Lions yesterday. Backup quarterback P.J. Walker led that effort. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break.
It's bow time. The barbecue sandwich from Bojangles is back. Wait, Bojangles has barbecue?
Yeah, keep going.
Well, okay then. We're talking tender pulled pork with a tangy Carolina vinegar kick, unforgettably topped with our country coleslaw, all on perfectly toasted buns. So if you're like me and missed it last time, get your hands on a barbecue sandwich combo pronto.
It's bow time. This is Stephen Igo, publisher of HoistTheColors.net. Recruiting is the lifeblood of any college sports program, and no one devotes more coverage to the future of ECU athletics than Hoist the Colors. Want to know who's going to be the next Holton Ahlers or Jaden Gardner? We've got all the inside scoop on the Pirates' most talented recruits and top targets 24/7. Sign up now and get your first month of coverage for a single $1. HoistTheColors.net, the most reliable reporting on ECU athletics.
Christmas presents are great, but Christmas cash is awesome. This is Vince from Play It Again Sports in Greenville, and it's time for us to help you turn around the stuff in your house into cash. Clean out your closets and garages for cash today. We're buying sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, tennis, lacrosse, hockey, and more. We're buying bicycles, skateboards, snowboards, water skis, treadmills, ellipticals, dumbbells, and more. Play It Again Sports, your home for Christmas cash. Just past the Cracker Barrel on Greenville Boulevard. Find us on Instagram and Facebook.
Over 32 years ago, the Ronald McDonald House of Eastern North Carolina opened its doors as a place to help families stay together and close to the care they need when they have a sick child. With the addition of a second Ronald McDonald House inside the Maynard Children's Hospital, our need to serve is greater than ever as the medical community flourishes. Help us expand our mission of keeping families close as we grow to meet that need. You can show your support by making a donation to the Ronald McDonald House. Visit our website today at rmhenc.org for more information. Thank you for your support.
This is Big John Williams, strength and conditioning coach for East Carolina football, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back to our show on this Monday. Taking your questions and comments on our Facebook Live feed. Terry has written in. He's talking about SMU and their quarterback, and so let's turn our attention to the Ponies. Last year, Shane Buechele, 414 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns. SMU beat East Carolina 59-51. Terry says that Buechele kind of struggles when he's got some pressure on him, and he suggests that you blitz and blitz some more. What do you think about that, Coach?
Well, that's my favorite call. Is just to blitz and blitz and blitz, obviously. So I'm down with what he's saying.
When you look at last year's tape, or do you look at last year's tape at all? Because obviously it was a different defense. It wasn't your defense. But do you look at that at all to see anything with SMU?
You still do. I mean, it's the same head coach. They have changed offensive coordinators. Rhett Lashley was there last year. I think he's at the University of Miami now. Now Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's brother.
Yeah.
Was here, Garrett was here at ECU. He's the offense coordinator now, calling the plays. So you obviously look at him as far as what's his style, what's he's changed, what's he's tweaked a little bit, maybe his tendencies, those type of things. Then you'll have some carryover from the quarterback. Obviously, was last year was the same, and you'll have some of the skill guys that were the same as well. So you'll take a look at it. Most of your focus goes into this year's games and film.
SMU comes to town 7-2 on the year. Their only losses to Cincinnati and Tulsa. In fact, they had Tulsa, much like East Carolina did, had Tulsa by double digits, and Tulsa rallied. Tulsa's the first team since 2005 to come from 14 points or more down in 4 games in a season, which is almost unheard of because you're not playing as many games as you usually play because it's 2020. So, they got caught by the Tulsa bug too, didn't they?
Yeah, and Tulsa's they've played limited games. They've had a few games get postponed or canceled, whatever it may be, and pushed back. So they've, I kind of joking around, say they're always fresh because they're always coming off a bye.
Yeah.
But it seems like everybody they play, they're kind of the same story. They fall behind and then find a way to rally and get going from there. But, if you look at the SMU game, they scored off a pick six early. That was the first 7. And then they get good field position on the next drive, take it about 25 yards and go up 14-0. So, couple easy scores for them to start off with, and then Tulsa kind of rallies back like they have several times this year in the second half to get the W.
And probably the closest that they've come lately as far as Tulsa goes to losing a game in those 4 comebacks was the one to East Carolina, because they did get those 3 gifts late in the game on that late drive. But that's water under the bridge. Next up for East Carolina, the Ponies of SMU, Southern Methodist. Were you a kid whenever Southern Methodist was going through their heyday, or was that even before you were born?
Yeah, I think it may have been a little bit before I was born.
Yeah.
I remember, after that, just hearing about SMU over the years, the stories that come out of there and the tailbacks, obviously, and just kind of the whole program history there. So really respect their program and what they've done down there, and what Coach Dykes has done there. And, the last couple of seasons and the talent he's brought in to play some pretty good football.
Eric Dickerson, Craig James. Maybe that's when I was a kid. Remember those names. And just outstanding football. Then they got, of course, in trouble with the death penalty, and they've been able to resurrect their program over the years. And they have a great facility. I mean, playing at SMU is really, just a neat deal. That's a great stadium right there on campus. I've had a chance to go there twice now, and that's really, you can see how SMU can recruit a little bit, in the big state of Texas, because they're able to get at least some of those players that maybe bypass Texas or Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and that kind of thing. When you look at SMU as far as what they do on offense, what do you expect? I mean, is this another instance where you really, even though they're not known for running the football per se, you still have to really just make sure you stop the run and go from there?
Yeah, you look at them and you think, their quarterback, who's obviously an NFL-type guy, and you think, that's where you got to start with. And it is, but I think their tailback actually leads the conference in rushing, and he leads it by quite a bit. I think he's somewhere around 800-something yards, and the next guy in conference is about 600-something yards. So he's done a good job of just, maybe everybody's worried about the quarterback, and the tailback makes some plays with his feet and does a really good job with that. But I think that's what we got to stop first, to stop the run. And that way we can put them in obvious pass situations, and as the caller said earlier, we got to be able to bring pressure on them in those situations.
When you look at your defense, have you been pretty pleased with the way they're tackling? And I know coaches will usually say, hey, we can be better, but have you been pretty pleased?
I think as a coach, like you said, you always want better. And I think we've been freaky at times. At times we do a great job of tackling and getting hats to the ball and what we call topping off, which is somebody's in on the tackle and next guy's topping off and getting in on the tackle as well. So we've been great at times this year with that. Sometimes in the second half of games, especially with bigger running backs, we don't necessarily finish, and some part of that could just be younger guys, not a lot of time in the weight room, all that type of stuff. So he'll come around.
I've said this the last couple of weeks with coaches that we've had on, is I think that the COVID, with everything being shut down for spring football, winter conditioning, summer conditioning at times, I think it hurt East Carolina, or a program like East Carolina, more than it hurt several other programs out there, because I really think that's where Mike Houston wants to make his niche as far as a coach goes. He wants to be hard-nosed. He wants to be big, strong, and physical. And when you can't get in the weight room like that, you can't do it. I talked to Coach Houston today. He was talking about, after the game with SMU, trying to get, the kids back on campus. I think he said because of the way the semester is, they'll come back mid-January, and that's when he really wants to put together 8 weeks of strict, conditioning and really, harden this football team. But did you think that missing all that time really hurt your defense?
Oh, certainly. I think it's, affected our program and probably affected college football across the country.
Yeah.
And maybe more so us. When you're in a smaller town, kids are local. They're not able to find a gym to work out in or trainers to work with. Maybe if you're in a little bigger town in Orlando or Cincinnati, maybe you have some facilities, maybe off campus even, that your guys are allowed to get into and work around with some trainers, not outside of your program. So I think that certainly could be an effect.
Talking with the defensive coordinator at East Carolina, he is Blake Harrell, as the Pirates get set to take on SMU. Noon kickoff at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Let's go through your defense, Coach, if we can. You touched on some of these a little bit, but let's talk about your defensive line and some of the guys, not necessarily that have been surprises, but some of the guys you're really counting on for not only this year, but for the future.
We talked about Elijah Morris. And he's been a pleasant surprise. A guy we weren't really planning on back in the summer, and has done a really nice job. And you look at that group and look at him inside, and there's about 5 or 6 kids that you like we talked about earlier, be around for a while. And he's certainly one of them. A couple other of those freshmen up front. Xavier Macgyver, big guy that's played a lot of snaps this season. Done a really nice job. He gives you something a little bit different than we've had. Just a bigger body that's powerful. And probably, just as we talked about, he's a freshman that comes from a small town in South Carolina. Probably never been in a great weight room program. And just, I think, a year with Big John in the weight room, he's going to change his body and become even a better player. Another one up front who played some snaps last week and looked really good was Deontay Johnson. He's a young man that, come in the summer, wasn't in the best of shape, but has gotten himself in better shape as the seasons went along. And I just look forward to seeing him in the future, and I think he's a bigger body as well, big, wide shoulders, barrel chest that has a lot of good football in front of him. So those guys inside, kind of, excited about them. Obviously, Rick Abreu has done a nice job. He's played inside for us all this year, played outside last year, so he's versatile, could do both, and still just a sophomore. So you're excited about, where his future heads. So those are some of the young guys. We can talk about Jason Romero and Kareem Stinson, young freshmen on the edge, or true pass rush type kids. And they're going to get even better as they get older.
How about Chris Willis? How much has his leadership helped on that defensive line?
Chris is a young man, grad transfer from App State, and has been solid just as a mentor for those young guys, showing them how to work, how to do things, how to go about their business, preparing for a game. Coming from a program where winning was what they were used to, so just kind of helping our young kids see that and prepare for that was very important, and I think he did a great job in that role this year.
Talking with Blake Harrell, defensive coordinator at East Carolina. That's the defensive line. We'll come back. We'll go through the linebackers, the defensive backs, and get you ready for SMU coming up, the season finale. Blake Harrell, our guest. Back with more on the Brian Bailey Show after this.
BMS Builders is your premier custom builder in eastern North Carolina. With Blackwood and Mills Creek in Greenville, Dalton's Cove in Farmville, and Belmar and Ayden, these are just a few of the developments featuring BMS Builders homes. They can build the home of your dreams. Just ask Dr. Dennis Ross in Greenville or East Carolina football coach Mike Houston. They built their homes, and they can build yours as well. BMS Builders. Give them a call at 916-1578 for BMS Builders.
The Rick House is Eastern North Carolina's premier American-styled restaurant and bar. Join us at the Rick House for mouth-watering steaks and the best burgers around. Check out the spicy mahi risotto or the bourbon pecan salmon. Wednesday night is date night. 2 salads, an appetizer, a bottle of wine, 2 entrees, and a dessert for just $55. Thursday is ladies' night with $5 martinis and special apps. The Rick House, American Provisions and Spirits, 710 Red Banks Road beside the bowling alley in Greenville. The Rick House.
I'm Michael Vaughn with East Coast Grading and Utilities. Many of you know my dad, David Vaughn, and his work in putting in subdivisions all over Pirate Nation. But East Coast Grading and Utilities is not just for those type of big jobs. We're here for the homeowners. Whether it's concrete, driveways, hauling rock, or sand, whatever you need, East Coast Grading and Utilities can get the job done. Call us at 252-531-7494 or check us out on Facebook at East Coast Grading and Utilities.
Bostic Sugg Furniture is overstacked and overstocked. Overflowing inventory means clear out prices. Hurry in and take advantage of the biggest and best deals throughout our showroom. Save up to 20% off the best furniture brands: Lazy Boy, Bassett, Kincaid, Rowe, and Restonic mattresses. Plus, just for this sale, 12 months special financing or choose 48 months special financing. There's savings on top of savings. We're overstacked and overstocked, and that means big savings for you at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get auto, home, life, and business insurance all from one agency? Well, that's where the Gavigan Agency comes in. They can help protect what is important to you. So why not simplify your life? See the Gavigan Agency in Greenville or give them a call today at 252-756-1400. Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio. Subject to underwriting guidelines, review, and approval.
At Tiebreakers, we pride ourselves on serving
big, juicy wings.
I'm talking
big and juicy.
Our chickens are the same ones that kick sand in the other chickens' faces. If our chickens played football, they'd be linebackers. The competition's chickens, they'd be
skinny little kickers.
Trade those kickers in for linebackers.
Tiebreakers is open every day at 11 a.m. Follow Tiebreakers on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates.
This is ECU assistant football coach Roy Tesh, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back to our show as we wrap things up with Blake Carroll, the defensive coordinator at East Carolina, taking time out of his busy week to talk a little Pirate football with us on this Monday, kicking off your football week. Pirate football at noon on Saturday against the Ponies, the Mustangs of Southern Methodist University. We talked about the defensive line a little bit, Coach. Your linebacker play, as you said earlier in the game against Temple, they really excelled, and they just look like they're playing with a lot of confidence. They're flying around to the football, and that means a lot to your defense, doesn't it?
It does, and I think anytime, kids kind of get feeling comfortable, feel really good about the system and have taken quite a few snaps in it and just kind of get later in the season, get a little bit more confidence, and they even play faster. And I think Coach Houston did a great job last week of getting them back, getting their legs back on them, getting them fresh, and that certainly showed on Saturday.
When you look at the linebacker play, obviously in most defenses in stopping the run, the defensive line, they have assignments and it's built really toward the linebackers making tackles. Isn't that the basics of it?
Well, I think our defense set up just to attack and get vertical and put stress on the offense and make ball carries go sideways. And it could be a D-line making a tackle for a loss, linebacker, or even safety or corner. So, depending on the call, it could be upon anybody to make the play, and we're ready for anybody to make the play at any time. So, but certainly linebackers are a big part of that, whether it be run game, pass game. I joke around all the time, say, the D-line only cares about their part of the call, and the secondary only cares about the coverage. But as a linebacker, you got to know, hey, the front, the still under pressure, the coverage, the whole piece, and put it all together. So, certainly they got to tie it all together just a little bit more than maybe some positions. You guys move a lot on defense, and that's the first thing I recognized in the UCF game, of guys moving on the line and really, causing confusion. Where did you pick that up from? And talk a little bit about that. Well, just over the years, I think any advantage you can create for your players and for your program and defensive scheme there, I think is a bonus. And offenses do it all the time. They're motioning around, shifting around, so why can't we do it as a defense? And that was kind of where the thought started coming and kind of borrowed that from actually Alex Grinch, who was at Washington State at the time. I think he's at Oklahoma now, at D.C., but saw them doing it and then went out and visited with him and picked up a few things there and just kind of added some different things to it over the years. So it's been good to us, and it makes offenses stay a little bit simpler and basic against us, and also at times frees up some of our guys to go make a play. Obviously, without giving anything away, because every time I ask a question like that, Coach Houston always looks at me with his eyes and says something about, why don't we just tell everything? But without giving anything away, what are some of the keys to why they move when they do? Is it a call from the linebackers? Is it something to do with the formation that the offense has come out in, the motion? What goes into play there? Yeah, we just certainly tag it in, easily tag it in the call, whether we want our guys to show some pre-snap movement, show one look to another look, and we can line in any front and move to another front, or any coverage and line shift to another coverage based off of game plan, or certainly just a tag in the call. So it makes it fairly easy for our guys. I always say KISS, keep it simple, and that's what we try to do. And appears simple for us, but complicated maybe for an old lineman or a quarterback, or even an offensive coordinator checking it out. Yeah, KISS. You left out a word, didn't you? But you can't say, keep it simple. Stupid is how it goes, but you don't mean it with any disrespect, obviously. But that's that's how the saying goes. When you look at recruiting on defense, is defensive line the toughest player to recruit? Well, I don't know about that. I think you're just finding guys that can run and hit. and run and hit at every position, whether it be a D-line, safety, corner, linebacker. You want guys that play with edge, play your style of football, whether they can be explosive and run at their position, and will they hit you at their position. And if they can do that, I think they fit our system, they fit our defensive scheme, and they can find a place in the field.
Coach,
finding the NFL prototypical D lineman, yeah, that might be, if everybody wants a 6'3", 300-pound kid that can run, those are tough to come by.
Right.
If you're just looking for a kid that can run, you're not worried about him being 6'3" or 6'1", then I think those guys are out there.
What's the difference when you're looking at a big lineman who maybe plays both ways in high school? What makes him an offensive lineman and what makes him a defensive lineman? Is athleticism, or because those offensive linemen have to be athletic in certain other ways, don't they?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Coach Sinkweiler over there is asking those guys to zone and move, and he wants them to be able to bend and run as well as our guys do. So, to me, it's just, we want our guys to be explosive and be able to pass rush. And maybe they can move just a little bit better, a little bit more athletic than our old linemen. You can certainly hope. So that you certainly want the athleticism on both sides of the ball. If in the perfect world, maybe you always recruit D linemen. If you're asking the defense coordinator, you always recruit D linemen. Maybe you move some of that can't pass rush to the O line and keep the best pass rushers on D line. But you're talking to the defense coordinator, not the head coach or the offense coordinator.
Yeah. When you're recruiting defensive backs, I mean, you look at size and you think of corners, not being that tall, but your safeties, you want them a little bit tall, a little bit bigger. I mean, that's got to be difficult too, because a lot of these guys are recruited, and then you almost have to look toward the future to see, okay, this is what he's going to look like with Big John for 2 years, and he'll be here. And I think he's a good player now. Let's go ahead and sign him, and this is where he'll be.
Yeah, it's certainly right. I mean, you might project a guy in a couple of years. How much weight he can add. A few things that probably won't change is probably his height. He's not going to probably get much taller, if any, and then probably speed. He may get a step faster, but he's probably not going to go from let's say a 4.7 guy to a 4.4 guy. So you want to find a guy that can run. If you can find a guy that's longer and has some length to him and still a good football player, that's would be the ideal guy.
Coach, before we let you go and get out of here, let's break down your secondary a little bit. Tell us a little bit about these guys and what you're looking for in the finale and what you're looking forward in the future.
Yeah, I think we talked about Jair Wilson earlier. He's done a really good job at outside backer, staying for us. Expecting some big things out of him this week, and just really excited about his future and what he's been to our defense and been for our defense this season. Sean Dorso, another guy that started back there most of the year, just came in the summer and really just kind of learned to pick the defense up in the summer, and for that and not having a spring, not having a weight room program, he's done a really nice job. And then Juwan Powell got his first start back there last weekend. Warren Sabu, who's been great all year, is out with injury and had surgery last week, went really well. And Juwan did a nice job last week, and he's still a redshirt freshman, still learning, but he's a very athletic kid that his best football is in front of him. And some of the younger kids behind those guys, Tegan Wilke, who was a football player, has a nose for the football, and just when you talk to our players, sometimes that's the guy they kind of mention is like, hey, Tegan's going to be a really good football player because he'll come downhill and hit you. David Laney's got some length back there, can run really well. That's kind of the safeties, and then corners, Malik Fleming and Jaquan McMillan and Nolan Johnson, all three have been rotating the corner and doing a nice job. And you have all three of those guys back, so you're excited about those. And you got some younger guys with Sean Tucker that's been, on the field at times this year. So you really feel bright back there in the at the corner room.
When you look at all the young players you have on this defense, did you install your entire defense with this group, or is there elements that you haven't put in yet because of the youth of this defense?
Well, I think we got a big bulk of our defense in. We keep the package small from week to week as far as what we're taking into a game plan, just to keep it simple for those guys, and carry it over. Obviously, there's a few other coverages you would like to take in and grow. A few other stunts or blitzes that you would like to grow to, and then you just hope to get better to it, doing the things you're doing as far as just lining up and being able to play base defense, a few snaps here and there, and being able to, play things better and really just kind of whip the guy in front of you. And when we can do that, I think we can really become a good defense.
We've talked about this before because the Pirates have such a great receiving core. Tyler Snead and C.J. Johnson and Blake Prohl. You guys play against them in practice every day. And you've said before that they make you better as defenders. Talk about what Tyler Snead brings to that offense, because he was named as the Special Teams Player of the Week this week for the American Athletic Conference. That kickoff return was just something really to watch. Really special, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. And Tyler Snead's just kind of he's one of the heartbeats of our football team, and does a really nice job just bringing the energy and working every day to practice, and just competing with the guys. I mean, he makes our defensive guys better, whether it be in one-on-one or Skelly or a team situation, because he's making those guys defending. He just pushes them to their max and pushes them to their abilities. So I joke with Tyler all the time, so we'd love to have him on defense anytime he's ready. I'm sure Coach Kirkpatrick's never going to give him up, but he's the type of guy you would love to take at about 22 spots. His mentality, his work ethic, and his mindset. And just really excited and happy for him with the special teams award this week.
I think Tyler Snead would look good at a corner, wouldn't he?
I'd say corner, nickel, safety, whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, because he'd be flying around there, and he does chirp a little bit. I saw that again in Saturday's game. He was having a good time and chirping a little bit, but that means so much to your team to get that edge for the team. And that kickoff return, as a defensive coordinator, when you're trying to get your defense ready and that kind of thing, but because you've just finished the kickoff, do you have a chance to look up and see that kickoff return, or are you busy trying to get your next defensive calls ready to go?
No, I think I think that was pretty early. I think that was after the 3-and-out. We held them to a field goal.
Yep.
And we turned around and really didn't have any adjustments after a 3-and-out. And, had a sudden change there and held them to a field goal. So felt pretty good about that. And then he takes that one to the house. And then you're feeling like, okay, we're back up again. So, it was nice to see and nice to get on the board there. And it's always easier to call defense with, when you get a couple of score lead on somebody.
Pirates win at 28-3 on Saturday. You just gave up the 3 points, the one field goal. Came close to a shutout. What a shutout mean to this team?
Oh, I just mean it's even more confidence for our kids. I think keeping the Temple out of the end zone, allowing the touchdown was big.
Yeah.
I think we forced 7 3-and-outs, and that was huge. Just confidence for our guys, and 3 turnovers. And, I think they were 3 of 17 on third down. So all those things put together, that's what you want to do defensively with your performance, and I think that just builds more confidence for this week.
The best player for Temple on Saturday may have been Adam Berry. He was the punter. 11 punts, 492 yards of punts. He averaged 44.7 per punt and 11 punts. That's a lot of punts, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure he was a little sore the next day.
Yeah, that's a lot of kicking. All right, Coach, before we let you go, because we certainly appreciate your time, keys to victory against SMU. What have you got?
Like I say every week, we got to shut that running back down and lose the confidence in rushing. And then once we do that, we got to create chaos on Bouchelle and try to get after him, whether it's by disguising some different coverages up and mixing some things up back there and just bringing some different pressures and get some hits on him. I think he's been sacked 18 times on the season. We'd like to get a little pressure on him, make him move his feet a little bit. He's a very accurate passer, but if you can get some pressure on him, make him move his feet a little bit, I think that gives you a better chance to get off the field and on third down. And then against these guys, you also got to be ready on fourth down, because Coach Dykes will certainly put the ball down and go for it on fourth down as well. So we got to be ready to play 4 downs.
Tell you what, it's going to be fun to see the Pirates back at home in Dowdy-Ficklin. You guys have been on the road for a while.
We have, and it's always good to be back in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium and be at home and just know, you got Pirate fans in the stands and many more at home, and just can't wait to be back here.
And the one thing we haven't said, once you get through the regular season, you won't be tested so much, right? You won't have to go through the big swab.
I'm counting those tests down the last couple of weeks, and I think we were just tested this morning, and we got one more, as we call it, bad one on Wednesday. The one's on Friday. They're just the antigen. There's not quite as deep as the ones on Monday and Wednesday. So only one more bad one, then Anderson on Friday, and that kind of wraps that up.
There you go, and hopefully we'll wrap it up forever, because I don't think any of us want to go through another year like 2020. Blake Harrell, defensive coordinator. Blake, thanks so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it. You're so gracious with it, and we certainly appreciate talking football with you on a Monday. So thanks so much, and good luck this week against SMU.
I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Blake Harrell, Pirate defensive coordinator, joining us on this Monday. We'll take our final break, and then we'll wrap up this edition of the Brian Bailey Show.
2020 certainly hasn't been the year many of us were hoping for, but one thing has stayed the same. I'm Tim Sutton with Greenville Auto World, and our commitment to our customers has never wavered. Let Greenville Auto World show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Greenville. We believe in fair prices, superior service, and treating customers right leads to satisfied repeat buyers. Your vehicle is a big investment, and our customers trust us to keep them up and running with outstanding service and value. We're Greenville Auto World, across from Hardee's at Bell's Fork.
Medicare is not one size fits all, but which plan is right for you? Hi, I'm Denise Walker, and I'm a licensed insurance agent here in North Carolina. Whether you are turning 65, new to Medicare, or already have a plan, I can help you compare your Medicare options. I can help you find a plan offering low to no monthly premiums, prescription drug coverage, and a wide range of additional benefits like dental, hearing, vision, and more. Call me today at 434-531-5674 to get a no-cost, no-obligation Medicare benefits review.
Hidden phone trade-ins, hidden plan requirements, hidden catches. You won't find any of those at US Cellular because we do things differently. And that means you can get the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE or Google Pixel 5 for free with no hidden requirements all season long. US Cellular. Upgrade to fair. Terms and conditions apply. See store uscellular.com for details.
Does the idea of going to your local U.S. Cellular store make you feel a bit uncomfortable? Tired of the hassle of waiting and wearing a mask? Let Toby Williams and his outside sales team take away that worry. They will come right to your home or office and drop your phone off on the porch or at the front desk for you. Saving you time and worry is what the team at Cellular Warehouse is all about. Call Toby today at 252-799-7051 and let them help you with all of your wireless needs. Cellular Warehouse, your local U.S. Cellular authorized agent.
Let us help you get back to business. This is Donald Stocks and Justin Judge of PIP of Eastern North Carolina. We're ready to assist your business with branded PPE. Would you like face masks with your logo? We can do that. Plus custom social distancing signage. Now is the time to ramp up your marketing efforts. Whether it's cutting edge, contactless, touchless marketing or traditional direct mail, we can do it all. We are PIP of Eastern North Carolina.
The holiday season is here, and Sam Jones Barbecue will take the stress off of your brain and put some goodness on your table this year with our special meal packages. This is Sam Jones, and our Thanksgiving heat and serve meal packages include whole smoked turkey breast, mac and cheese, green bean casserole, baked beans, and 12 potato muffins, including whole pecan pie and a ball of our sweet barbecue sauce. Place your order now at samjonesbarbecue.com and plan your time for convenient curbside pickup. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
Pirate Radio.
And you write that down, because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it!
The voice of the Pirate Nation. You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show. Now, back to Brian.
All right, welcome back as we wrap up this edition of The Brian Bailey Show. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook Live or listening to us on Pirate Radio today. I want to thank Blake Harrell for joining us, the defensive coordinator at East Carolina. Some of the star players for the Pirate defense from Saturday's win over Temple 28-3. Bruce Bivens, 11 stops on the day, had 8 solo tackles and 2 tackles for loss, losing 3 yards. So Bruce Bivens came up with some big plays from that linebacker spot. Sean Dorso picked off his second pass of the season in the game in that win over the Owls. He was credited with 4 tackles, included a 1-yard tackle for loss in the second quarter. In that game, Jaquan McMillan had 3 tackles, 2 solo, registered at least 1 tackle in all 20 career games so far, and multiple tackles in 18 of those games for East Carolina. Chris Willis finished with 7 tackles, 6 of those solo, which included a pair of tackles for loss in the game in the win over Temple. Pirates going to need a good defensive effort this week because this SMU team have a good quarterback, good running back, so they can pretty much do it all, and they did it all last year against East Carolina. Carolina in that 59-51 game in Dallas, Texas, and that was a crazy game. Tyler Snead absolutely went off, as he did this past week, but he had an outstanding game last year for East Carolina. Holt Nailors threw for 498 yards and 6 touchdowns in last year's game, so they'll need efforts like that one to try to beat this SMU team at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Good to have the Pirates back at home. East Carolina's been on the road for a while now, so they're back at home for the season finale, East Carolina and SMU. Next week, I guess we'll be talking basketball, previewing the season still, because the Pirates won't be playing down in Fort Myers, Florida in that tournament. They opted out because of COVID-19 concerns, and there's still a possibility they may pick up a game before that December 5th, but there's still some planning going on with that behind the scenes, so we'll wait and see on that. All right, that's our show for this Monday. Have yourself a great sports week. Again, thanking Blake Harrell, the defensive coordinator at East Carolina, and we'll see you back here next week on the Brian Bailey Show. Have a great week, everybody.
This has been the Brian Bailey Show, brought to you by
Bostic Sugg Furniture, Bojangles, East Coast Grading, Angus Grill, Gavigan Insurance, BMS Builders,